Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 3, Episode 169. So this morning, I was ready to leave home, and my daughter missed the school bus, which last year she used to miss it a lot, or almost miss it, because the bus driver would wait for her. And right now, her bus driver is recovering from a surgery, so the temporary bus driver is not waiting. So that caused her to almost be late for school, so I had to take her to school, and that means that I'm running late now. So I am leaving. It's 48 degrees outside, just after 7 a.m., and I am just getting out of here. Yesterday, if you'll recall, I had a problem with my coolant being low, so I put more coolant in, put the cap on the coolant, put it in the car, no problem. And then when I had to go to my meeting, I didn't want to have all these chips in my pocket, because just in one place I picked up 7,000 in chips yesterday. So I put them in a plastic bag, and in the Ford Escape there's a little compartment behind the passenger seat where you can hide things. It's about 2 or 3 inches tall, and it's a nice, like, 1 foot by 1 foot area that you could store stuff. So I put the plastic bag in there. When I got home, I reached back there for it, and my hand was wet. Well, it turned out that the cap was not on the antifreeze well, and that whole compartment filled up with fluid, which is like the worst case scenario. I put it in a place where it would hold the fluid wouldn't go anywhere, and I was soaking my chips. So I'm like, okay, well, I could probably get it out of this plastic bag without getting them wet. And man, it was a big bag. It was that ice bag from the hotel, and I was cleaning the bag and cleaning the bag and cleaning the bag, and that fluid would not come off. And finally I squeezed the chips through the bag, hoping to keep them clean, but they weren't. They did have some on them, and I used half a roll of paper towels to get that cleaned off. And what I'm worried about is if the UV or blue light or whatever, black light, little decals were damaged, I might have a problem cashing these chips. So I laid them all out to dry yesterday, and this morning I was getting into my car, and one of them fell between the seat and the middle console and fell right back into that fluid again. So I got them all taken care of right now. Hopefully I didn't lose any of the decal stuff, the little ultraviolet ink that's on there, and hopefully I won't have a problem cashing them. So that's what's going on with that. Yesterday was a crazy day. I'm not too happy with my performance. I feel like I could have tightened things up a little bit more yesterday, but I mean, I had a bet spread and I went in with it, and it was unfortunate the way things went down, but that's the bet spread that I had chosen for that casino. So and I hadn't played that casino very much lately, just because their good blackjack tables don't open very often. I got lucky because the pit bosses saved me, and he knew, my friend knew that I might buy in for over 10,000. He was protecting me, but I was desperately trying not to buy in for that much, because just in case we already had surveillance watching, I didn't want to have a problem. At 2,500, they were already called anyway. He had me in at 7,800 instead of 9,500, and if they had just backtracked and double checked, I very easily could have had a problem if I went over 10,000. But luckily, the bleeding stopped at minus 9,300, and then we started moving forward, and everything worked out. So, all right, a couple speed traps up here. I don't have my map on yet, but we're just heading out, and I'll be back to update you after my first stop. You know, I was thinking about how much of an advantage a player has at different true counts and comparing that to other casino games. So I'll give you an example. At a true count of +6, the player advantage is approximately 2.8%. 2.8% is about what the house advantage is. Actually, probably a true 5, like 2.2, 2.3, is about the advantage that the house has on a single zero roulette. So, just to give you an idea there, you have to have a true +5 would be like the player having black and the single zero on a roulette wheel, which, if you think of it that way, you don't think that it's that much of an advantage, right? I mean, if you're betting black or red, and all of a sudden it goes to a true 5, and you get your color plus the single zero, it seems like such a minuscule amount, and it is. And that's why it takes us thousands and thousands and thousands of hands. And if we have a 2% advantage to a blackjack player, that's enormous. But if you look at that in terms of what I just said, it doesn't sound like so much. So, and if you look at it in other casino games, hole carding, all these other things that you can do that we don't really expand on, then you realize how small of an advantage blackjack really is, and the reason why we need to play so many hands, and the reason why we need to get to 1,000 hours before we really realize our true EV if we're doing things right. So I just thought I'd throw that out for you. Alright guys, I am back. So I am moving on to the next casino. I stopped at the first place and didn't find very much. I did see one really good opportunity, but someone was sitting at the machine, and when I came back around, he was being paid his jackpot. So unfortunately, that one did not work out. I played a couple small plays. One of them I made about $85. One I lost about $30, and that's all I could find. Pretty quiet in there, and I know the guy that comes in there, he comes in early. He usually leaves before 9 a.m. So sometimes there's something left over for me, and the 2 games that I played are both games that he doesn't play, so there's always a chance with those. So anyway, I ended up leaving ahead $56 there. I wanted to discuss something with you, and I forgot what it was right now, but I will remember. I am going to post a video of the room that I'm in, but I'm going to wait a little while before I do that, and probably tonight I will post a picture of a table that I was at and what happened with that. So you can look for that tonight or tomorrow whenever I get time. I do have a meeting coming up in about 2 hours. That will only give me about 45 minutes to play blackjack. I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens, and hopefully I can get some kind of profit before that, because by the time that meeting ends, the shift will be changing. So it's kind of like a free roll here. They will, they're only going to see me for half an hour or so. So it'll give me an opportunity to make some money, even if it's 100 or 2. By the time I have to leave for my meeting, it would be worthwhile for me, in my opinion. So anyway, I am moving on right now to the next casino. I'm going a little fast behind this police officer, but I have to pass this car so I can, because the road is splitting up ahead. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Teamwork. Good job, everybody. All right, I'll be back. All right, guys. Got in there, in and out relatively quickly. I have a few minutes before my meeting, so I'm going to start my drive to the next place here before pulling over to do my meeting. I walked in and looked at slots first and found a couple plays, small plays, $1 or so, and played those through. It took a minute or two and ended up ahead
$36 on the slots. And then went to play some blackjack. There were 2 tables open, and I picked the one with a dealer that I knew on it. And the reason I did that is because I know he's fast and I don't have a ton of time. Sat there and played for a while, and actually did okay on that table as well, and ended up leaving ahead $600. So $600 profit on the blackjack, $36 profit on the slots, and I'm moving on to another place. Right now it's 70 degrees outside, clear skies. It's going to be a hot day probably because just seems like it's going to be a hot day. But everything is going well so far. I did post that picture of where the dealer refused to play his hand, where I had a one hand that was 2 face cards and the other one was a blackjack, and how there was a big holdup, and the casino didn't want me to play the hand, and I asked for surveillance, and they reviewed it, and they finally said I was right, and all that. So that's on the YouTube channel if you want to take a look at that. And after reviewing the video I took of the room, it's a small room, I decided I am going to post it. I did blur a couple things on it, but I'm going to wait a while until, you know, maybe a couple months, and I'll finally post that one. So that's what's going on right now. I'm going to pull over here in about 3 minutes and do my meeting, and I will be back to update you. Man, that was annoying. Heading back to my car right now. Only one elevator working. They're giving things away. This place is completely packed. Whatever, 12, 14 floors, the parking garage is packed. Only one working elevator. You think that would be a crime. You think that would be a hazard somehow. But finally got through it. Initially I went in and played some slots, and I took a break after a while. I was down about $65 at that point, and then went back and played some blackjack. Let me see. Went back and played some blackjack, and actually it wasn't there too long. I don't want to jinx myself like I did yesterday, but I had a decent little run and was able to leave on a negative shoe at plus 550. Now, with that in mind, there was no card counting involved because it was a negative count pretty much the whole time. So I only raised to about double my minimum bet, was about all I did. So I did one bet and then double the bet, and that's all I had was able to do due to the count. So I ended that session ahead $550. Then I went back and looked at slots again, and it was pretty flat, and I was getting ready to leave when I saw one more machine, and I stopped and played that one, and I ended up actually turning it around. I went from down whatever 60 to plus 112. So ended up ahead 550 on the blackjack and 112 on the slots. Now we're going to move on. We're going to move on to play some blackjack and try to cash some chips in, and I've got someone continuing to call, so I'm going to grab this call and I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back. I'm stuck in second gear right now. Can't make any money right now. It's been again, same thing as yesterday. Went to the next place. I had 7,000 in chips. Oh, my car is over here somewhere. I had 7,000 in chips, and bought in for 500, bought in for 500, bought in for 500. I bought in for a total of 2,500. I won 4 of the first 28 hands, no pushes, min bet the whole way through. I won 4 of the first 28 hands, and then I finally won 2 hands in a row. So it was a really bad start right away. I was down exactly 2,500 at the beginning, at the end of the first shoe, and the dealer goes, "That was all in one shoe, wasn't it?" And I said, "Yeah, that was all in one shoe." That was pretty awful. And next couple shoes, I treaded water, and then I started coming back a little bit. And let me see. So, kind of try to play this back in my head here. I had a good shoe. Actually, the next shoe was good. Got me up to like 2,500, but I was involved for a total of 3,500 by that time in chips. I had cashed 2,000 at the cashier before sitting down, so I had 5,000 in chips. I had 3,500 in chips on the table, or involved in on the table, and I was down to 200 and worked that up. And then the next shoe after that was kind of crappy. It was kind of flat. The one after that was okay and built me up to like 2,700 or something like that. But at that point, I had a running minus 18 with 2 decks to go. So you can't play that. And the other table had this guy. I totally forgot about this guy. The other table had this guy who was, he had like all the chips. He had probably, I'm just thinking back here, trying to picture it in my head. He probably had 8 stacks of 500s, which is what, 80,000. And he had 2 stacks of thousands. That's another 40. That's 120. And lots of $100 chips. And he wouldn't give them up. He wouldn't let them color up. So whenever they paid him, they tried to pay him with a higher denomination. And I said, man, I'm over here struggling, and he's over there with all that money. And the pit boss is a friend of mine, and he says, yeah, Joe, but he's in $1 million right now. I said something like, he's up $1 million, and then he said, yeah, Joe, but he's in $1 million right now too, or he's in another million or something like that. So I guess the guy was doing pretty poorly. So anyway, I had a running minus 18, and I asked the pit boss if I could get a new shoe, even though the other pit boss was there, who is like a manager, and it's probably not a good idea to ask in front of him. But he's been nothing but friendly to me over the last few years, so I really don't think that he had anything against me. And my friend said, yeah, go ahead, give him a new shoe. And so they gave me a new shoe, and it was actually pretty good for me. It was negative the whole way through, so I never raised my bet, but I ended up breaking even. So then at this point, I'm exactly even, and I've got like a running minus 6, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to stay because things have been so bad. So I decided to take a walk. I cashed out another 4,000 in chips at the other cashier, so I still have 3,000 in chips left right now. So at this point, I think I'm going to go get some food at the casino that I'm staying at, since I can charge everything to the room. And then I think tonight, if I'm around tonight, they have a steak place open. I can use the rest of my comps on that. And then I'm supposed to have some free play also, which I haven't even inserted the card yet to see what I have, but I should have some free play as well. So I'm going to go over there, maybe play some blackjack, maybe play some slots. A friend wants me to look into a sports bet for him to see what's going on with that, and I'll do that. And then we'll figure out where we're going from there. So he told me to give him a call in about an hour, and then maybe we'll go ahead and take that trip that we were talking about yesterday. But so far today it hasn't been great. We're only up about $1,000 or so, 1,100. So, well, keep working. That's what we do. So I just felt really uncomfortable at this place because this place is one of the worst. And here's something I wanted to say too that I didn't mention earlier. The last casino I was at, I was getting about half deck penetration, half deck, and this one was giving me about 3/4 to 1. So the pen was there, but the counts weren't there. At the last place, my max bet was only double the minimum. At this one, it was only triple the minimum because I couldn't get any counts. So it's just, sometimes that happens, and you've got like the best situation, but I know a lot of you are going to say you should have stayed longer and you should have pushed it, but the way that I play and the way that these guys know me, they know, hey, he's going to leave after he wins this much money. And if I start acting weird and stuff, then it's going to be more suspicious. But it's carried me
all these years so far, so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing that works. So anyway, moving on, I'll be back. All right, guys, I am in the room right now looking out at the city and just relaxing a little bit. I did have another session of blackjack. I learned a lot of stuff. So I had mentioned the guy at the other casino, and actually I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but the dealer had told me that that guy is into some crazy stuff and illegal stuff. So I asked over here, I said, you know, I was at the other casino and this guy was playing like this, and I heard he was into some illegal stuff. And the dealer said, oh, I know exactly who that is. And he gave me the guy's name, and I looked it up, and this guy really is into some stuff. He even admitted that he was into this stuff, and he's got a good lawyer. I can't tell you who, because high profile, and gets out of everything, and he's scammed people out of many millions of dollars. And when I look him up online, he even admits that he scammed people and who his accomplices were, and he's had a lot of millions of dollars taken away from him by the government, and he's still free. So must be nice to have that opportunity to just steal from people and not go to jail. Just pay part of it back and keep the rest. It's almost like, you know, you pay the commission and then you keep the rest or something. So yeah, right now I'm just kind of organizing myself, counting my money, counting my chips, and getting organized. I got a stack of chips like you wouldn't believe right now. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to have to hit every shift to cash this stuff out. But anyway, I ended up playing for a little while. Ended that session ahead $700 on the blackjack, and then right now I'm down on the slots. I'm probably going to leave here in a little bit, but right now I'm down 109 on the slots. So I think I'll call my friend here in a few minutes once I get settled in and figure out what time we're going to leave, and then we'll get going, and I'll be back and kind of update you as to what's going on. It's darn hot outside right now. It's hot in this room. I like it at like 68 degrees. I don't like this 74 degree stuff. Oh, it's set to 67. I close these blinds here. Maybe it'll cool off a little bit in here, but I like it nice and cool. Anyway, so far so good. It's been up and down today, but we're heading in the right direction for the most part, and I'm not tired right now. I'm going to take a look at my work email, call my friend, and we'll get out of here, and I'll come back and update you. All right, guys, I am back. So I went back down, and I was going to play some blackjack, but I decided just to play a few slots, and it sat down at a machine. It was $10 a spin. Hold on. Here, come on. So I found a machine that was $10 a spin. Sat down at that. Yeah, I was down like $100 and something. Started playing that one. I expected it to be like $200 or $300 before I would hit, but it went on and on and on and on, and I was involved about $1,100 before it finally hit. And luckily it hit in two different parts, and there was no W2. I actually didn't even tell you I did have one yesterday also, so more W2s this week. What are you gonna do? So I ended up leaving ahead 124 on the slots after being down as much as like 1150 or so, and I was able to claw back luckily and get out of there. So right now, oh, and then on my way out, I've been struggling with this, trying to figure out what to do. So I have this free food and free
slot play, and I'm supposed to have that available on my card, and it's not available. But I don't want to go to the Players Club because the Players Club is right next to the break room, and the break room is where all the dealers who think I have a whole different name, and all the pit bosses who call me by that different name and think that I don't have a player's card, they're coming in and out of there every 2 minutes. So it's like, do I give up the $400 or $500, whatever it is, and not go there, or do I wait till like the night shift, 8 p.m., or, you know, what do I do? So I thought maybe I should do the night shift, and then I remembered some of these players clubs at night are closed, and you end up having to go to the cashier. The cashier is right in front of the tables, and that would be a mess too. So I walk up, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do this real quick, in and out, no problem, no one's gonna see me. I looked at the time, it's right in between their shifts, so it should be fine. You know, it should be a long time before shift change. The only thing I have to worry about is people going on their break. So I stand there, and I stand there, and I stand there, and I'm in the VIP line, and the girl is trying to fix the card printer that prints out your players cards. I'm like, come on, let's go. And then finally someone else got cleared up, and they called me over, and I explained the situation. They're like, well, I can't read your card. What's your, is it okay if I print you a new card so I can get the card number? And I'm like, the card number is blah, 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 blah. And she's like, wow, how'd you know that? I'm like, well, I've had it for 25 years. So she printed off a new one. She had taken my ID. She gave me back my ID. And she was trying to call a host to take care of it for me. And I'm like, oh my God. So what am I supposed to do here? So I walked away for a second. I walked back, and I said, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have come yet because I have a meeting. I didn't realize it. Do you have everything you need to get it fixed for me? Or do I just need to come back later? She's like, oh no, I got what I need. I just need to talk to the host and they'll get it fixed for you. I said, okay, thank you. And I took off. So nobody saw me. Nobody walked by. No host, no pit bosses, no dealers, no nothing. So I got very lucky there, and I didn't even think about it. I just thought, just like it is with other places that you go, that maybe they just put it on there and you show up and it's there, but you're supposed to actually talk to someone. And she said, did you go to the kiosk and check that? And I said, yes, there's nothing on that. So hopefully they'll get that fixed for me. If not, I can always contact my host in the other city and say, hey, they can't fix it for me, help me out. And I'm sure she will help me out. So that is that. So at this point, work is asking me to do a bunch of stuff, but it's, you know, it's the end of the day at work, and I'm not really going to do that. So maybe when I get back at 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning, I can do that work and get caught up on that. But I really don't feel like doing that kind of work right now. So what I am doing now is I am leaving and heading off to a nearby casino where I am going to have about 40 minutes or 35 minutes before I have to meet someone, and then we're going to travel to a whole different area and try to make some money there. So actually didn't bring any drinks or anything, even though, oh, I did actually. I got a stack of drinks from the Asian restaurant. Just charged it all to the room so that I'd have drinks for the trip, and I've got another $120 to use by tomorrow. So it'll probably have to be more of the Asian food and probably more drinks that I use it on. So that's what's going on right now. I am heading to this other casino to meet my friend, and I will be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. So does it sound noisy in here? The giveaway day, you get a free pot or pan or spoon or something, and there are millions of people in here. People walking around with 2 of them, with 4 of them, all kinds of craziness going on. I'm heading back to the car right now. Going to meet my friend. I played blackjack for about half an hour. From the first hand I was down, and just continued to play until I ran out of time. And I'm heading back to the car right now. Actually peaked above 0. Uh-oh, I might see a machine here. Peaked above 0 on the last hand of the shoe to finish plus 100. And so that's all good, I guess. We gave it a try. And it is so elevator on the way up, because if you wait until on the way down to get to the casino, you'll never be able to get in because it'll be jam-packed. It's so ridiculous. So anyway, right now heading back to the car, and pretty much just min bet. I did raise to double the minimum bet once or twice, but other than that, was negative all the way through. And gonna get in the car and take off, go to another area, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back. So we're gonna break this up here a little bit. I'm gonna go over what happened till just about an hour ago, and then we're gonna break it up into another episode because I think we're over on our time. So we left the casino that I'm at right now, and we took a trip to another casino about 2 hours away. And you might hear a car alarm here in a second, but one car alarm set off another car alarm, which set off another car alarm. So there's a bunch of them going off at the same time here. But anyway, so we went to this casino. It was a couple hour drive. Walked in, started looking around the slots, played all kinds of slots in there. I'm not going to bore you with all the tons of details about all the slots, but I ended up playing 2 sessions of blackjack and 1 long session of slots between it all. So as far as slots, I ended up bouncing up and down quite a bit, but ended up ahead $225. Now, blackjack, I went to the high limit area, and there was there were 2 tables, more than 2 tables, but there was a double deck table and there were 6 deck tables. The double deck table was completely full. All Asian people, they're all together. I get it. Nowhere for me to sit. So that's the high limit double deck. The high limit 6 deck, there was one that was, I think, $100. Although there might have been a cheaper one, I'm not sure. There was one that was $200, but I was more interested in double deck. I like that game more because it has good rules and it has a good beatable side bet. Remember that. So I ended up not being able to sit down. So I went to the low limit area and I found a $25 double deck. Great rules, great penetration, great everything, and a beatable side bet. I sat down to play that, and I got pummeled like you wouldn't believe. I was down almost $700 very quickly betting minimum bets and just about losing every hand. And I was playing the side bet when it was positive EV, in my opinion, according to my analysis that I did on it. I ended up playing it, I think, 8 times at $5 per bet, and I ended up ahead on the side bet $260. So that was actually really good. Almost every time I bet it, something good happened like that. I mean, not almost every time. 3 out of the 8 times that I bet it paid off, and I ended up ahead $260. But the blackjack was just going terribly, and I ended up leaving the table ahead $22.50. That includes the 260. So really I was down about 240 on the blackjack, but with the side bet it took me to being ahead $22.50. So then started looking around at other slots, and then finally we were getting ready to leave, and my friend said, do you want to play any blackjack before we go? We had actually just eaten. They have an Asian restaurant there, and I got some pad thai, chicken pad thai, extra spicy, and got some of the chili oil on the side and poured the whole thing on there. It was great. It was like a sweet chili oil, so it was actually pretty decent. And then so I ended up going back to the high limit, and everybody had cleared out by that point. So I sat down at that table and played for a little while, and actually did okay on that as well. And as it turned out, my friend said, did you notice who the dealer was? And I had forgotten totally. We had talked about this guy, to watch out for this guy, but this guy is the guy who likes to turn people into the pit bosses because they're counting cards. And a couple times he said to me, you're missing an opportunity to press because I had won a hand, but the count was negative, so I didn't raise. But I ended up, luckily nothing happened there, but I ended up ahead $512.50 on the blackjack. And like I said, so we had $22.50 on the blackjack, $512.50 on the blackjack, and $225 on the slots. So that was that. And then we came back to the city where I am right now and talked to some people on the way about some things going on, and finally got back to the casino where I was picked up from, and everything is all set now. So at that point, it was just after midnight. So from here on, I'm going to start a new episode for the next day. The next day is usually shorter for me anyway, so it would be better for me to split it up at this point. So I'm going to let you go right now. Oh, let me talk about what did I eat today? What did you eat today, MW? I had, what did I have yesterday? Whatever I told you I had yesterday. Man, how do I not remember? I had Asian twice, I guess, because I had that General Tso's chicken and rice stuff, and then I had a couple drinks as well. I had one Red Bull, and a little while ago I had a coffee drink, and that was all fine. So as far as the General Tso's, I would give it probably an 8 on a scale of deuce through ace, and the Pad Thai I would probably give a 10 on a scale of deuce through ace. And what did you tip today, MW? As far as yesterday's tips, I tipped a waitress a couple dollars because she's very nice, and she finds me and she brings me water, and she's very nice to me, asks me how I'm doing and all that. So I'm perfectly happy with tipping her. But that's all I tipped yesterday. So that's what's going on with all that. And right now I am going to let you go, and we're going to start a new episode for midnight and after. If you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.